And welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar for this afternoon, Digital Innovation. My name is Anthony. I'll be the moderator for this webinar. Firstly, thanks a lot. Thank you very much to the Malaysian Chamber of Commerce, Hong Kong and Macau for providing the opportunity and the platform to connect all of us here and have the opportunity to share with us this session today. I'm also very honored to have the respective speakers who accepted our invitation to share at the webinar today, and which I will be introducing them shortly as well. As a token of appreciation to my fellow speakers, I also prepared like a coffee roundtable. We are doing it virtually. So let me share my masterpiece. Share screen. All right. So can you guys see the round table here? And promise it's a round table. So we have a table which is round and it's made of, now we all talk about sustainability so much. It's made of virtual recycled materials. And all of us, all of you a special drink. Serena, I gotten you orange juice and Wilson a coffee. And Christian, I got you a tea and bubble tea for Yong Meng.
Thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I also have included we also included the respective email contacts of the speakers here. And if throughout the session you find if there's anything that you'd like to contact our respective speakers separately, please feel free, and we are more than happy to speak to any one of you as well. So, all right, guys, let's start our webinar here. And it's let me introduce on my right here, Serena Chang, the Regional Manager for Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, and followed by Christian, who is the co-founder and CEO of Pakpobox, and then Tan Yong Meng is the founder and CEO of BuildEasy, and finally Wilson Bay, who is the co-founder for PolicyStreet. All right. Generally, maybe you can start off with Serena yourself, and since you are from the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, yeah, please share with us what's happening where now, and what's the latest digitalization tech trends that you are seeing emerging from and within Malaysia as well as regionally.
Thank you, Anthony. So first and foremost, thank you, Malaysian Chamber of Commerce, Hong Kong and Macau, for having me here today. Let me introduce myself. I am Serena, and I'm from Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, commonly known as MDEC. We are a government agency that's mandated to lead the ICT and digital economy growth in Malaysia. We have been established since 1996, starting with MSC initiative in Cyberjaya. Today, we look into various tech sectors from big data, AI, creative digital industry, e-commerce, tech talent, and my division specifically looks into the growth of local Malaysian tech champion. We run the GAIN program to provide Malaysian tech companies the opportunities in market access, funding, and visibility. As for your question, Anthony, I think like the latest trend right now, in my opinion, will be more into the future of work, where we look into collaborative productivity and automated tasks. So all these will be focusing on AI, machine learning, robotics, big data, IoT to help us, work remotely right now, given what happened last year with the pandemic, and how we are depending less on human physical presence in our office and in our factory and so on. That's what I think. Over to you.
Right. So AI is a big data, has always been widely spoken about, and I guess we have our fellow entrepreneurs here who have been leveraging on that. And any one of you would like to start off with sharing the application of big data or AI in the respective areas of business? Perhaps Yong Meng yourself. I know Yong Meng is in the construction industry and it's rebounding very good when now as the economy reopens. Yong Meng, to you.
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. So basically for us, we're basically involved in all the way from pre-sales, sales, and the post-sales process of the property life cycle, meaning to say we help to market it, we help to sell it, and we help to what we call engage in interior design or renovation for your property. Truth be told, it's actually extremely challenging to implement any sorts of AI or big data in our industry. However, having said that, we are actually working on a recommendation engine platform whereby, because we serve many clients from all over Greater Asia that wish to invest in Malaysia. So we are actually working on a recommendation engine using AI to somehow trying to find that sweet balance between the right property for them to invest in Malaysia actually.
Right. Interesting enough that I also know very closely Wilson Bay. We were ex-colleagues before, and now he has turned into an entrepreneur where he utilized, he's into the financial technology sector, fintech. And yeah, Wilson, please share with us what you are doing currently right now, and perhaps on your digital innovation as well.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wilson. I'm a co-founder of PolicyStreet.com. We are an insurance technology company where we simplify complex insurance for businesses and individuals using technologies. So our firm has been around for more than 3 years, and we have helped hundreds of thousands of users to be protected in a simple, easy, and affordable manner. So how are we doing differently? Number one is that we work with all insurers in town with the central bank license that we have obtained. And number two, we compare, aggregate, and simplify the right solutions for the clients. And number three, we use big data to understand the claim analysis as well as the customer requirement, and hence advising and recommending the right protection needs for our users. Gone are the days where users are blindly guided by consultants or agents when it comes to policy purchase. Today, they can go online easily to compare, and hence the requirement for a quality digitalization services is very high. And this is where PolicyStreet will come in to fill the gap.
Great. So what about yourself, Christian? I know Christian is from Italy, and why is he here at this Malaysia Hong Kong webinar is because I know that Christian, one of his very first investment, a major investment of his company was actually in Malaysia. So Christian, please share with us what are you up to, and what's your viewpoints on the tech digitalization trend these days, and what you're doing with your company.
So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'm honored to be at this round table in this webinar. So my name is Christian Secci, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Pakpobox. We are one of the leading supplier of automated parcel locker. Our parcel locker solution enables couriers to deliver more packages faster using fewer trucks, and online merchant to ship more, spending less. We have also created a platform that allows anyone to make a purchase on the internet and then collect it from an intelligent, conveniently located parcel locker or retail store. Post Malaysia and Post Laju are one of our top clients. Actually, we have helped Post Malaysia to build a network of 170 parcel locker all over Klang Valley and Malaysia. What is happening now in our sector, in the tech logistics? So we are a tech logistic company. We have seen that, you know, the digitalization of the world has speed up 10x in 2 years, right? Because of COVID-19. Why people are shopping more online, and courier companies are reaching a bottleneck, right? One single courier can deliver 60 parcels a day to single homes, right? And this is becoming a bottleneck because more people are shopping online. And you know, now you can order your food in 30 minutes, get it delivered by Food Panda or Deliveroo. You can deliver your groceries online. And so we are seeing that this trend is just accelerating at 10x speed because of COVID and because of more players are coming into the arena, right? So they are creating the ecosystem of automation in fulfillment and warehouse, digitalization of payment. So the whole ecosystem is thriving.
Right, great. And then you mentioned about COVID, right? And COVID has indeed affected and disrupted many of our businesses and market practices around. And I would like to also hear about from the entrepreneur or business perspective, that how has 2020 or 2019 been for you guys? Anybody would like to share? Wilson, Yong, Meng?
Yeah, sure. Perhaps I can start first. I think the COVID-19 pandemic is really once in a lifetime event. It is totally unprecedented. I still could remember a year and a month ago, we had to really reshuffle and also to reinvent our business model. But looking back at the past 12 months, the sector that PolicyStreet is in, namely FinTech and Insurtech, I would say we are one of the beneficiaries out of the entire pandemic due to various macro and micro factors. I think I could quickly run through some of the macro levels before I touch base about some of the micro level reasons related to PolicyStreet. What we see in Malaysia and also Southeast Asia is that a lot of people are more willing and open to transact online. I think digitalization has become part of parcels of our daily life. The number of e-wallet users, even my parents in their 60s, you know, they are comfortable to transact online. They were not like that pre-COVID. So I think that is good. And number two, the entire market awareness and realization about the importance of protection has gone up. Because we are in the insurance business, we are in the protection business. There are a lot more people who have come to us and to seek advice and recommendation for protections. Things were a bit different pre-COVID because I believe a lot more interest was in the realms of investment, return lending, and etc. In terms of micro factors which have been positive to PolicyStreet, number one, last year this time, we conducted our equity crowdfunding. So for those of you who are dialing in from Hong Kong, so Malaysia is one of the pioneer countries which has approved equity crowdfunding licenses to a couple of registered market operators. It means that as a startup, as an SME, you are able to tap money from the fund. You do not have to go through the tedious IPO process or to fulfill the IPO requirements, but as a startup and SME, you are able to tap into funding from the public and obtain more than 50 shareholders. And I'm very privileged and I'm blessed to share that when we conducted the equity crowdfunding last April at the heights of COVID-19, our company turned out to be the largest issuer Malaysia ever has. We still hold the title this year. We managed to receive funding from 274 local and international investors, including investors from mainland China. And this is where it is a testament that as long as the business that we are in, whether it's digitalization business or non-digitalization, as long as we are able to fulfill customers' needs, we are still able to reap the benefit even during a pandemic. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant credentials and impressive results that you have there, Wilson. Perhaps I want to ask Yong Meng some of the things that some of the attendees have given me their question, which is, how has the COVID affected the your industry of constructions and even interior design or home renovation that you're seeing, and how digital innovation is actually complementing your business right now and moving forward, as you see?
Sure. So I will probably answer this in two parts because we actually offer, as I mentioned, we offer property sales and the post-sales services. So for the first part, which is the sales, pre-COVID, we were actually serving up to 100 international clients a month in Malaysia. So what we would be doing would be flying in all our clients from Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, etc., bringing them to Malaysia and giving them the whole Malaysia tour, basically. Of course, what happened when COVID hit was that our business went from hero to zero, which was horrible. Basically, overnight, everything just disintegrated. So it was a very, very bad experience and a bad process. But we couldn't afford to sit and just dwell around. So we actually immediately implemented a lot of digitalization measures. For example, we started moving to a lot of doing a lot of online webinars, etc. Which I think it's one of the most profound change we've been seeing in the property industry, actually, whereby we are seeing, I won't say a general acceptance, but a slow but growing tiny acceptance that people are willing to potentially transact online. I use the keyword potentially here. The reason being because we all know that a property purchase, for most of us here, could be a once in a lifetime purchase. And of course, it involves a big and huge sum of money, right? What's more so for foreigners investing or buying properties in Malaysia, whereby the minimum cap has to be about 1 million ringgit, which is about 250,000 USD. So what we learned from this is that as much as we like to say that, yes, we could be, because we implement a lot of mixed reality, virtual reality, augmented reality to really improve the customer experience. But however, as much as I say that, digitalization helps, I would say that's not the deal breaker here. It's still very much an online to offline process. So we are still in the midst of finding our sweet spot right here. But when it comes to the renovation and interior design, there's always two parts to this. The first part is, yes, a lot of things can be done online. Again, we serve locals, many Malaysians, and we serve many foreigners who also bought property moving here under Malaysia My Second Home program. However, there's only so much that we can do online. For example, doing design, discussing floor plans. But there's the very not sexy part of it, which is the manual and physical labor that still must be done offline. And so much so that as and when there is a lockdown, we are actually, of course, greatly affected by that as well. But I have to say that Malaysia, in terms of the construction industry in general, has definitely picked up. And the home renovation side specifically actually was never really affected apart from the moments when we were in lockdown. Apart from that, we actually have a backlog of customers whose requests are to do up their homes. And no matter what happens, we believe in this industry, whether COVID or not, people still need to have a home to live in. So it's just a matter of how extensive or how much would they want to do with their home design and renovation, actually. Yeah.
That's good to know as well, as the economy picked up. And just to the general attendees of this webinar, if you have any questions and you would like to ask any of our speakers, please do. You see the chat button there or the questions button. Just put in your questions and then we will answer that towards the end of the webinar as well. And moving on to Serena, and there's a lot of news and articles that has been talked about Malaysia in the recent, perhaps 2 to 3 years or even 5 years, about Malaysia branding itself into a digital hub of ASEAN, and there's a lot of investment that is going in. A lot of big companies are setting up their IT hubs in Malaysia itself, PCCW and the Thundersoft and so on and so forth. And even it's projected to hit about 20% of digital technology, supposed to hit 20% of the GDP projected as in 2021. And there's also a lot of the populations of Malaysia is getting young. And would like to get some more insights from yourself that what are the government efforts currently and in the plan to strengthen this branding of digital hub in ASEAN, and how is it helping a lot of entrepreneurs and also a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs in this webinar who are planning to invest into Malaysia or maybe start up in Malaysia as well. Perhaps you can share with us some lights on that of the government initiatives that's currently going on right now and maybe moving forward as well.
Yeah, so we are positioning ourselves as the digital hub of ASEAN because Malaysia, even though we don't have a large population like Indonesia or Thailand, we still have a substantial population size of 38 million, and we are all English speaking, and we have our infrastructure here ready. So it's easy for us, for anyone who wants to explore other ASEAN regions to actually land here and test out your products and your services within our multicultural before you actually go out to other neighboring countries, right? So we all have also programs that help you for market access to go over to Indonesia, Thailand once you set up here. This is what my team actually specifically looks into actually. So we're running all these market access program to able to help Malaysian companies grow outside of the region. And our stronghold is actually in Southeast Asia. Naturally, for all of us to access our neighbors with the large populations, right? For other people that are coming in, we also have our incentives like MSC that's been going on for a long time, tax exemption in that way. You can, and also hiring a foreign knowledge worker, you can hire them via MDEC itself, and to have a fast track to be able to get your talent, especially like from IT programming all around the world through this visa. We also have this Malaysia Tech Entrepreneur Program where we give you a residence pass. So if Christian, you're interested to come and set up in Malaysia, you can apply for this pass. It's a 5 years residence pass. And then when you get in, you can just access Malaysia. Like you can use a lane. There is a green lane for that to here. So we hope that this will encourage more like entrepreneurs who are just setting up, right? Like you don't know what to do, and then we give you this. And then once you come over here, we have a team here to help you, whether you want to open up your bank account, you have no place to go. We have a Malaysia Digital Hub for you, and then we help you in setting up your company, etc. over here. So these are like the immediate things that we can do for you actually. Thanks.
So Christian, how does it sound to you as you can come to Malaysia for 5 years? Not only we have very delicious Italian pizzas and spaghettis in Malaysia, we also have durian that you can and chendol that you can enjoy as well.
I love Malaysian food, and I think it's interesting what the MDEC is doing. And as you mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, one of our first projects in Malaysia was, one of our first projects with local was in Malaysia in 2013 with the company at that time called Impost. So we were two very pioneering the concept of local at that time. But for sure, Malaysia is an interesting base if you want to expand in Southeast Asia. And I agree that the infrastructure that you have and the geographical position is strategic to expand the business in Indonesia or Singapore or Thailand or in other region. So Serena, we can discuss later how we can leverage on MDEC to expand our footprint in Malaysia. At the moment, we are serving Post Malaysia as a client. We have a local partner in Malaysia that is very important if you want to conduct business locally. And there is another project that the government of Malaysia is trying to set up with similar to the project of IMDA in Singapore. So the IMDA in Singapore, they are installing a network of 1,000 parcel locker all over Singapore, open to all the courier company, open to all the online shop. And now the Malaysian government is thinking and planning to do the same, because it's important that, you know, the government is building an infrastructure for everyone, for every industry like e-commerce and logistic to use to grow the business. So we're really bullish on the future of Malaysia.
Certainly, Christian, I cannot agree with you more on that. Being Malaysian myself and seeing what's happening in overseas Hong Kong and what could potentially be the growth be in Malaysia as well. Actually, I have a question for Wilson. That as far as insurance is concerned, to me myself, insurance is something that is it's a lot of human touch to it. It's a lot of personal, like even you have a medical claim form, or when you are into some issue, the first thing probably a lot of people will contact is the insurance agent of where his or her friend get the claims done and stuff like that. So digitalization is that you use AI and the personal touch of it is somehow it's not as strong as insurance agent were to be in connect with the person. And how do you see this, and where do you see digitalization would go further into the Insurtech of what you are doing right now?
Yep, thanks, Anthony, for a very great questions. I would like to quote Bill Gates. He once said this phrase, I think in the 90s, banking is necessary, banks may not be, right? Similarly to insurance protection is necessary, but the operators who are offering insurance today may not be entirely relevant if they do not enhance and improve. So in the case of PolicyStreet, we know very well what are our unique value propositions. We are not here to replace agents per se, and we are not here to take away the lunch for some of the highly professional financial advisors. We are here to do, number one, to serve the underserved and unserved market, whether they are individuals or businesses. As you know, in Malaysia or even in Southeast Asia, the insurance life protection coverage rate has been hovering at less than 50% in the past 5 to 10 years. Compared to Hong Kong. Hong Kong, I think the average Hong Kong citizens is covered with more than 100%. In average, every Honky, you have more than one policy. But the case is not the same in Malaysia or in emerging markets in this region. So this is where PolicyStreet, we make the insurance protection simple, easy and affordable using digital tools to help the unserved and underserved. So who are these people? So these people include our heroes in the past 1 year when we are under lockdown, the people who deliver food to our doorstep, the delivery guys. So I'm proud to say that a few of the largest food delivery companies, tens of thousands of their riders, they're all insured by PolicyStreet. We structure, customize, and innovate the right solutions for them. We help emerging companies to be protected with the right medical plan. Again, the beneficiaries are the blue-collar workers, the labor workers who may not be benefited with insurance protections without our solutions. Nevertheless, you raised something very important, Anthony. You mentioned that financial services are all about trust. I absolutely agree with you. And this is where our approach for FinTech and Insurtech is not to replace all things human, provided that the processes are important to establish trust. So this is where our claims processes are in fact still processed and supported and administered by our offline customer experience team. So we have invested quite a fair bit to build our offline customer experience team to ensure that when it comes to claims, when it comes to product analysis, when it comes to product explanations, we have the human touch involved to assure our customers that they are on good hands. And of course, the processes are simplified. We do a lot of virtual engagement, video calls, and of course, we use our online platform to streamline the processes. So this is where we are trying to achieve a delicate balance between marrying both digitalizations and also the human factor that could give the high trust level.
Right, right. That's fair enough. And also picking up on what you said earlier about the building trust and also incorporating technology into the respective industry. I would like also to highlight or bring attention to what Meng earlier said on, which is in his industry of construction, AI or big data is somehow not as implemented as much. And I was wondering, like Meng, you use AR, the augmented reality and those technologies into your business, and how much has it actually benefited or add value in terms of your bottom line revenue or profit in that sense?
Of course, especially during when the pandemic hit, we've seen an increase in adoption of people willing to experience this kind of experiences of what we offer with our mixed reality actually. Long story short, it has actually improved our bottom line in that aspect. But again, it's still very, very much an online to offline process here, and I fully agree with what Wilson mentioned, right? As much as, yes, we have a platform, for example, recommendation, we simplify, we aggregate, we offer good solutions. There's still very much your experienced team that needs to have that. In other words, it's more like a handheld process that really makes the customer feels comfortable, because trust and the trust is a very, very important part in our line as well, because it involves a larger sum of money. So for us, it's still very much an A plus B kind of combination, and to somehow move it more towards the online process, and hopefully being able to minimize the offline work that we do. But to get there, it's still a long way to go, and there's still a lot of trust that we need to build in the market actually.
Right, right. And moving on to what Christians mentioned earlier was about smart lockers and COVID, and how it's increased the demand for home deliveries or last mile delivery. COVID, people are very concerned about hygiene, and you being the having the smart lockers in various locations, and how is hygiene ensured on smart lockers, and as they are placed in multiple locations, and what are would it cause any worry due to the build-up of human contact on the lockers upon each delivery? How are you guys managing that actually?
So first of all, we have launched as soon as COVID hit Hong Kong, we launched a new solution where customer receiver, they can collect their parcel using a QR code, so they don't have even to touch the screen. So we have launched the contact-free, contactless delivery option. This is one of the first things that we did immediately as a company. Second, we help our clients, for example, like Hong Kong Post or Cyprus Post or Post Malaysia, to open the software, to modify the software in order to redirect most of the order that they were directed to the post office, to the locker, so they avoid creating people queuing or assembling at the locker, right? So if you consider locker is a better option than home delivery, because there is no contact between the courier and the receiver. So I think the market is responding well, because the utilization of the locker is increasing, and more customer, they're asking, they're building their own network. Like Post Malaysia now, they're doing a new phase where they want to add additional hundreds of lockers to their own network. And another thing that we saw is that, for example, before there was a lot of competition, right, between companies and network, but now logistic companies, they are cooperating together. For example, we open our own network in Hong Kong to different courier to use, right? Not only for our own parcel. So this COVID is, pushing company to rethink business model, to rethink partnership, to cooperate together, to serve the customer in a better and safer way.
Right. That's good. And we have a question from the floor for Serena. And perhaps we can take them on board now.
Hi, Alex.
Serena, are there counterpart organizations like MDEC in Indonesia or Thailand that you work with that provide similar services and help as MDEC? Question from Alex King.
Hi, Alex. So we work close in Thailand. We work closely with NIA, National Innovation Agency, I believe, and DIPA Thailand. So they are very similar to us, and they really push for the digital agenda in Thailand. So I believe if you're a little bit more set up, NIA is the one to go. But if you're more startup, DIPA will be the right person. Then in Indonesia, we work closely with Backcraft, but I think Backcraft is a little bit more focus on the Indonesian companies and Indonesian market. So that would be the differences between Backcraft with MDEC or NIA DIPA in Thailand. That's it.
Thanks for the question, Alex, and for the answers as well, Serena. And on that question itself, how do you see other countries or other governments in other countries are doing, and compared to what is the Malaysia government is doing for the community right now, and what do you say about what's happening over there?
I think we Malaysia have to work harder because everyone is doing a great job as well. Yeah. So
what do you mean by Malaysia needs to work harder? Yeah, what do you mean by that? Yeah.
Because I mean, all the countries catching up, right? And they're all doing a great job for the digital economy. So like, so they're all rolling out sandboxes. They're all having their own digital, like in Thailand, NIA rolled out their smart visa, which is similar to MTAP as well. So all this region, we are opening up our borders. There's no longer a time where you say like, working in Southeast Asia, there are closed borders that, we are not open to foreigners. But right now I can tell that in Southeast Asia, all the countries are open to collaboration. You can set up, in Malaysia, you can set up 100% foreign entity. Even in countries like Thailand and Vietnam, I can see they're slowly opening up certain sectors, certain projects. You can actually have like full foreign entity. So that's why I think like the region is one of the fastest growing, and then like take advantage of like the population, the young population over here, and like the rapid growth of GDP in countries like Vietnam and Indonesia. Yeah. So I think it's
to say that would you say the Malaysian government or the people who are in the authority in respective of different departments that could be doing something, they could be doing better than what they are doing right now for the overall benefits of Malaysia positioning itself as the digital hub of ASEAN?
We can always do better, right? I mean, I have 1 sandboxes now. I can roll out 5 more. I have like, we have like testing areas. Like right now, we are in Cyberjaya. We have testing area for drones, right? So I can roll out 2 more in other cities and states. I mean, this is what I mean when we can always do more. Yeah. So, but it's definitely very competitive now. I think everybody is inviting all the foreign players to come in so that, we can have a competitive environment. We're not so close and inclusive anymore. Especially like last year with the pandemic rolled out, right? Like before that, Southeast Asia is a very personal business culture. So you have to go there, you have to meet these people, you have to get to know them, have a meal before you even get a meeting on the table, especially in countries like Indonesia. But I noticed this actually last year when the pandemic came about. We had no choice but to have online meeting with our counterparts. And it's fine. It's fine, like we can still have our meetings and things like that. So I think moving forward, actually, this has made the access easier. I probably will not fly in to have just the first meeting anymore, which is what we used to do. Yeah, so this has changed all of us actually in that way. Yeah, so that is one good thing in this region.
Great, something for me myself to think about later as well. And in the audience here, we do have some aspiring entrepreneurs or even students who are studying in the universities in Hong Kong as well as Malaysia here. And I know Yong yourself, you started your business when you were actually studying in school already. So perhaps you can share with us or with the audience here, and what was going in your mind that you decided to take a different approach from what the other peers are doing, and how has it been for you, the journey and the experience of that?
Actually, so the motivation that came from wanting to start my own business during first year of university actually was really just to earn enough pocket money to be able to go out with my friends, maybe to go for dinners, etc. But so actually that was one of the motivation. But of course, in a more serious note, due to personal family circumstances where my father had to be admitted to hospital for about 6 months. So that kind of like woke me up and made me realize that, hey, you know what, at the end of the day, it's important to be able to support yourself. Of course, having said that, we all go through our different journey, and I think every student is different. So I believe everyone has that coming of age, when they suddenly wake up and realize, and I think it's more so for us guys. So that was one of the main reasons why I started. And going through that, it was tough because I had to study and I had to work at the same time. So I was in and out of classes. I couldn't really complete classes, but fortunately, I made it through uni. I made it through uni, fortunately, with quite decent grades too. I would say, I have to admit as well, quite decent grades as well. It wasn't the top, but it was okay. It was acceptable to my parents at least. So yeah, that was pretty much my journey. Along the way up to today, ups and downs, always more downs than ups for sure. All the time, the things we say or the stories we tell out in the public, it's always just a 10%. You don't really see the 90% of the tears and sweat we go through. And I believe this applies to all the panelists here as well. There's always more hardship than good times. But I think the very important thing here is to as cliche as it sounds, right, is to really just persevere and never give up. And I think a key word I would like to say would be focus. It's very stormy times right now. It's a lot of uncertainty. And I think with such rapidly evolving landscape, right, at any one time, a new business model could just appear and, just take out a lot of your market share. And I think that happens all the time. So I think it's important not to just have a fixed mindset, but to have what I call an evolving mindset, to be able to adapt to new ideas and to always look at it from a different perspective. Sometimes not your own perspective might not be the best approach, to be very honest. And sometimes, for all you know, someone outside of the industry could be able to give you more clarity into the problems you might be facing or the future direction you could be taking. So, I mean, just in a nutshell, that's what I just want to say.
Great sharing, Yong there. And you mentioned about your father. I hope he is.
Yeah, all good now. Thank you. All good. Thank you.
Buy insurance or not?
I will speak to Wilson later.
Definitely. Wilson will be the person to go to if you want to. I think if anybody wants to know more about insurance.
So actually coming to that, right, I have to say insurance is very important because when that incident happened, then only we realized, oh no, the insurance didn't cover certain things, or there's a certain coverage, or that was. So that's when we realized it's really important. It's really important. At that time, of course, that was, I think, before PolicyStreet, to have a good insurance agent. But now with PolicyStreet, I think it really makes life much easier. Actually, I'm a big fan.
You should have started much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yong. Wilson and I, we were colleagues at the bank before. And Wilson, you were an investment banker before, and you are very highly looked up to, and I respected very much when we were working together. From a very lucrative and very well as a job as a banker, an investment banker, you decided to go into entrepreneurship. Started with PolicyStreet. What were you thinking, and how has it been for you? It's been about probably 3 years, I think. 4 years.
Yeah. Time flies, Anthony. Yeah, we had good time in the bank. I think for me, the decision or the thought process to venture into entrepreneurship was mainly due to my passion. I really admire people who succeed in entrepreneurship, right? Just like what Meng was saying, a lot of times what we read on the paper, what we see on the media is just the surface. A lot of entrepreneurs, they have to go through a lot of hardship, and eventually they succeed, not because of they are the smartest people in town, but because they persevere, and most importantly, the solution that they provide to the market can solve tremendous problems or add significant values to the users that they serve. So I have been always fascinated with the idea of solving problems, adding values. And at that point of time, 4 years ago, I was thinking, if I did not venture into entrepreneurship, I did not jump into entrepreneurship, I think it could be a lot more harder for me to do it 5 years or 8 years, 10 years later, when I have a lot more commitments and I got even more comfortable in a big corporate, right? So that was really a challenge to myself. And of course, I was also quite lucky to ride on the wave of fintech, because that was in 2015 when I started to expose myself into financial technology. And during then, I was still quite skeptical. I wasn't sure whether fintech would stay. It could be just a buzzword, but eventually it will be still overshadowed by all the conventional banking. But fast forward 6 years down the road, today fintech is here to stay, and there are so many different verticals. And why I venture into Insurtech, although I personally am not from the insurance background, because my co-founders and I, we see a lot of gaps and pain points in insurance. And at that point of time, there were not many players which were operating in this space. And if you look around, e-wallet, lending, blockchain to some extent, there are so many players crowded at that vertical already. And hence, that was the reason why my co-founders and I, all of us, we left our corporate job in banks and insurance company to start PolicyStreet. And going back again to what Yong Min said, until today, it is still a very exciting journey. Every day, there are so many challenges, there are so many pain points, but I never regret a day. And hopefully, we are able to continue to build the venture to add more values to not just in the Malaysian market, but also in the entire Southeast Asian market.
Interesting. I'm sure you inspire a lot of person, including myself, very much, and to think about what I want to do next as well. And Christian, I did read up on your profile, and it's very interesting about how you, as an Italian and coming all the way to Asia, when you were just speaking over a conversation with a company, and who brought you to Hong Kong, which you helped them to develop a lot and work a lot of networks, and you do a lot of work with them. And eventually they said they want to pull out from the Asian market, and you were left with nothing, and you decided to take a very bold action and take tremendous risk to as you can foresee what will happen and the demand there. And what actually happened back then, and how you bring yourself up from the very, very, very down time of your career then.
So thank you for reminding me that.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah. So first of all, being an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is a journey, right? It's not, the destination is not important. It's the journey that is the interesting part, and they let you grow as a human being, right? So I came to Asia. I was working for a company for 5 years, Italian company, developing Asian markets, including Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore. And then after 5 years, I was frustrated because I say, oh, I want to do something on my own. So I left my corporate job. And then an opportunity, one of our clients came in, right? And I jumped on the opportunity. I was, young, without family, without kids. So you want say, okay, this is opportunity. Let's jump in. Let's do it. And then after 1.5 years of developing parcel locker, I brought the first parcel locker in Hong Kong and the first parcel locker in Malaysia. It didn't exist. When I approach people and talk about parcel locker, they say, what is this parcel locker? And then I explain, it's like an ATM, but for parcel. And then after 1.5 years, they just decided to close the operation in Asia. And that was like with $5 million of debt and 50 locations, 100 locker coming from Europe, was a mess. But I was able, thanks to the partnership and the network and also the taking some risk, to turn that problem into an opportunity. So my advice to the young entrepreneur, if you wanna start a business today, first of all, ask yourself, with what problem I'm solving, right? Second, if you are frustrated about something and you can turn that frustration into opportunity, meaning you solve a problem and there is someone willing to pay you to solve that problem, you are in business, right? Second, it's never been easier to start a company today, right? I don't need a factory to manufacture the locker. I go and leverage on sourcing company. So it's never been easier today start a business, but the competition is bigger and fierce. And success is marathon, not a sprint, right? So if you decide to be an entrepreneur, you need to be in for the long run. There is no success overnight. Every success that you see overnight, it took 5, 10, 20 years of hard work, sleepless nights, sweat, and a lot of risks. But I think we are living one of the most interesting time of our life, full of opportunities. Despite COVID, despite the pandemic, despite all the things that are happening, we can turn this problem into the business and the opportunities of tomorrow.
Right. I know you yourself, you are a marathon runner that you run, I think 100 km or something like that.
Yeah, I do just to travel. We go to Nepal, sometimes to Kazakhstan, to Hong Kong. Malaysia has very interesting trail running. I like the challenge. Again, I like I think trail running is like business. You decide to start a business to get to 100 kilometers, but you know that between the first step and the final, the finish line, there are so many challenges in between, but also very interesting things, people you met, situation you solve. It's a journey. It's the journey, not the destination. So if you decide to start a business, enjoy the journey.
This reminds me of the quotation from Zig Ziglar about success being a journey and not a destination. I think our fellow entrepreneurs, Yong, Meng, and Wilson, will probably agree with that as well. And yes, we're coming towards the end of, we have about 15 minutes left of our webinar. And if there's any more questions from the floor, please feel free to ask in the chat box right now. And we will try to answer them as soon as, before during this webinar as well. Or if you want to send us your questions privately, individually, please, by all means, welcome to do so. And wrapping up on what had happened before in 2019, 2020, and now we are into the more positive note of what's going to happen next with the vaccination rollout and 2021 and beyond. what to all of you, perhaps what would be the one word or advice that you would give to, can be the fellow entrepreneurs or the people who are in the executives who are running their respective companies, and how confident are you of what the economy next, and what are the trends that you will see moving forward next as well? Anybody would like to take up on that? And perhaps
we should start with Serena. Be a gentleman.
yes, Serena.
Thanks. So my advice is probably like just do it as like don't let the situation or the pandemic like stop. All right, like if you may think that given the economy situation, then this might not be a good time, or it's it's difficult, but we don't know when is this thing going to go on, like for the rest of the world. So if you have planned to expand and things like that, do it right now. Start your footing right now. Have a talk with everybody so that once this thing has lifted, then you will have your first foot is in. You'll be the first person who went in rather than waiting for everyone else. Yeah, that will be my advice.
For your position, you've seen a lot of companies, and perhaps you've seen how their innovation has been, and how some successful companies or some not yet successful company. What are the challenges that you typically see in the tech companies that so many people are doing apps, and what do you see in them that the biggest challenge that they are facing, and is there any disconnect with what is happening in the reality that you see from what the companies are actually aspiring or wishful thinking of that?
I think if I'm very honest, I would say that a lot of companies has always been busy finding the next round of fund. While I don't deny funding is very important, but do not forget about your products and why you're doing it in the first place, because building that customer base is very important than finding the next round of funding where you have enough customers to sustain you. Then your next step will be actually into expansion and everything else. But do not forget about your core customer, what they need and what they want, so that you can build a product better to last through the time. That would be what I can say.
Yeah, that is a very interesting point, that what I remember of Elon Musk, as I mentioned earlier, which is in one of his public appearance, that we should focus on the signals instead of the noises. A lot of people, they spend a lot of resources into marketing and trying to get more publicity, where actually the main focus should be the products and services, where Elon Musk has always been focusing on and putting into R&D. That's where you make sure you have got to have great products and great services in order to really do something incredible on that. Yeah, and thanks, Serena. Next, perhaps Yong yourself, with something that you would like, one word or 2021, what is your company is going to do, and what your aspirations, or perhaps what is your strategies or your plan moving forward?
Well, firstly, I fully agree, Serena. I'm actually also a proponent of what actually you just mentioned. I believe fundraising should be for the right purpose, should be for expansion, should be for growing a team, for example, and not just to extend your runway, for example. So I believe that, and it's becoming quite a key word, I believe, in the startup community now. Like, are you actually sustainable? Are you actually generating revenue? Right? Making money, yes, that's secondary, but I think revenue generation and how you actually try to increase your margin from there, that's also extremely important. We always talked about not fundraising as of yet, because we believe that we have to be sustainable. And so when we fundraise, then we believe that the negotiation will be a little bit more balanced in that aspect, right? So for us, I think a very important thing we're going to work on this year, and what we're actually already are working on, would be a recommendations engine, as I mentioned earlier on. And it's extremely important, we believe, for property. The property market to us is still extremely fragmented and still very much traditional. we believe that with a recommendation engine, with the right curation and filtration, the property buying process for each and every one of us could be much shorter, could be made simpler, and the experience could be better as well. Right. So if we look at, let me just delve a bit, if you look at the current process of buying a property, it's a lot of you visiting multiple properties, offering multiple deals, having arguments perhaps with your other half when it comes to buying the right property. But I believe that's because most of us do not have the right we do not make informed decisions. Yes, we can do our research, we can search online, we can ask around, but are we actually getting the correct information that we need? And I think that's extremely important. That's something we believe, or what we are seeing in the property market, could be lacking right now. So that's something we're actually a strong believer in right now, and we're actually actively working on that. And adding to that would be how much more would be necessary in terms of renovation. So renovation is still very much again, a very messy and very traditional process. How much more can we templatize things? How much more can we offer packages? How much more can we shorten the renovation and design process? So from a typical 3 to 6 months process, could we actually shorten it to 1 to 2 months, for example? And I believe that a lot of customers, especially Malaysians, for example, are always looking for best value in terms of making the best property choices, making sure that you make the right choices, and then making sure that you actually renovate it within your constraints, within budget, and with the right design that suits everybody, whether you're renting out or whether you're going to stay on your own. So that's a very, very big picture that we're talking about, but we believe that the whole process could be made much more efficient, and it could be simplified in a way that it could make it actually even a fun and nice process for everybody.
Great, interesting. So next, what do you say, and what's your advice, Wilson?
For me, it is really about being adaptable, because the pace of change is so rapid at this day and age, and it's not easy to forecast what will come ahead of us, especially with the pandemic, with the constant change of user requirements. So it's very important to be adaptable, whether you are a working professional, whether you are running a business. Because I believe to be adaptable, it means that you are always constantly on the move. You are constantly iterating your services, your products to serve the needs of users. You build things fast, you fail fast in order to justify your propositions. And of course, eventually it's really about reaching a state where you are able to fix the main crux of the issue and to scale your solutions in a very rapid manner. So if you look at a lot of the successful businesses out there, right, they would have solved one key problem, and they have a very clear methodology to rinse and repeat and solve the problem. And this is where, in order to reach that state, one has to be highly adaptable, especially for startups and emerging companies. So this is where, even in PolicyStreet, we are going to be focused, to be adaptable, to be quick, to be fast, and to iterate our services and solutions.
Right. Adaptability, being flexible is really definitely a lot of, we should be adopting that as well. And I believe, Christian, yourself, you would agree with that, and what is your take on that?
Yeah, so to tag along Wilson, I think being flexible, resilient, right, to all the changes and all the things happening, and stay lean, right? Focus on serving your customer, controlling your cost, right? And be agile in the way you develop your product and you serve your customer. Over communicate with your supplier, with your partner, with your customer if there is any problem. I think everyone now understands that we are all in the same boat, right? So we need to cooperate to solve issues. And to tag along Serena, listen to your customers, right? Not to your competitors. Your customer, your sales, they will solve any cure. They will solve anything. And for us as a company, we are always constantly innovating. Every week, every Monday, we ask ourselves, okay, how can we innovate our parcel locker? How can we make our parcel locker cheaper and easy to install for our customer, right? And asking ourselves this question, we are now testing Bluetooth powered locker that they don't require any internet connection, they don't require any power connection, right? Then we're also asking ourselves, how can we make deliveries cheaper, faster, and more sustainable? And this is leading us to build a sustainable delivery network powered by parcel locker, electric vans, plastic-free bags, and artificial intelligence, right? So I think it's an amazing opportunity we're living to rethink our company, to rethink our business model, to serve our customer and to serve our communities.
Definitely, that what all of you have mentioned, the keyword that I hear is listen, be focused on what we are doing and what everybody is doing, and actually deliver value. Yep, deliver value and be more, listen to the customers more instead of the noises. And one more question that I got from the crowd, and it was sent to me directly, which is how would you balance between risk-taking and failure aversion, especially during the initial phase of starting up a business? The balance between risk-taking and failure aversion. And I think this one, perhaps anybody would like to take this question? Hey, I think Christian will be, I read your profile before, is that for you yourself, there's no failure, but it's just lessons learned.
I think you need to take some calculated risks, right? Of course, if you're starting a business, don't go invest all your saving or your money in that business. If it fails, then you are in the middle of the street. So you must take calculated risk, right? And you need to go out from that comfort, right? Again, frustration. If you're working a corporate job, you're not happy, right? And you want to look back at your life and say, oh, I don't want to regret that I didn't take that occasion. So take those risks and make sure that, you know, if you fail, you don't succeed, you learn a lesson, and then you can still go on and follow through.
Right, definitely calculated risk is the word. I think agree with that very much. And if there's no more questions, and if you have any, if the floor has any more questions that you would like to contact the respective speakers directly, I would like to share again the email contact if you have not already got it, so that the rest can screenshot the page. Yeah, I'll leave it for some time. Are you guys seeing the page? Yep. So, did you guys enjoy my fellow panels of panelists? Did you guys enjoy the drink that I prepared for you virtually?
Thanks. I see that Yong Meng has boba tea.
I think Malaysia, the trend is not there anymore. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. I think a little bit too old to know the trends.
I will claim one coffee from you when I visit Hong Kong.
So hey, when you guys, any of you come, Christian is in Hong Kong itself, and we should definitely catch up when any of you are here. The borders are open again, and hopefully I can travel back to Malaysia and see all of you, and I definitely look forward to that too. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time, and please join me to a big round of applause for our fellow panelists, Serena Chang, Regional Manager of MJAC, Wilson Bay, Co-founder of PolicyStreet, Tan Yong Meng, Co-founder and CEO of BuildEasy, Christian Secci, Co-founder and CEO of Pakpobox, and myself, Anthony, from the Interchamp Partnership and the subcommittee. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. And I hope you guys have a great weekend ahead. See you guys around the next one.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.